Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of General Geekery. I am coming to you from quarantine at a secret location, totally not in a hotel in Houston next to the airport. And
Wow.
with me, as always, is JD.
I'm in a totally exactly the same place that I always am when we do this, always, without any variation on the formula.
Except when you have to take calls from people.
Still here, yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting a warning saying my internet connection is unstable. They want us to pay for Wi-Fi here, so I'm
So
piggybacking off the lobby's free Wi-Fi.
nice, nice.
Yeah.
All right, good.
All right. So I think we've had one question already as to where we are on the customizing challenge. Where are you at, JD?
Okay, well, I'm well into it with one of the figures, and one of the figures I've been picking away at, and it's just not happening. Everything that I'm doing on the custom, I'm just second guessing um, every step of the way. And I hate that. And the other day, I actually texted Brian. I'm like, I don't think that first figure's coming together. I'm going to have to start over. And I have not started over yet because I had one good idea the other night. I'm like, I'll try it. So I'm working on it. So if this idea proves to be the inspiration that I actually needed to bring it together, then great. And if not, well, I'll be starting over after that because the bottom of the barrel is well visible for ideas to salvage this one. So, uh,
Well, I
uh,
am still waiting for parts for my second figure, which I'm getting from Marauder Task Force, and they're running way behind because of the weekly geared up figures they've been doing for the past couple of months. However, my first figure is completely finished. And by completely finished, I mean it's finished. I've taken decent pictures of it, and I've made a card for it.
and he feels the need to brag about this and throw into my face that I started my customs before he got all the parts for his. But I tend to be a very long creative journey type, and Brian is the type that he gets the parts, he primes them. An hour later, it's like all done, and then like 2 hours after that, the shit's on a card and it's all finished. So, I take
I think it's
I
that.
take I take the scenic route. Um, Sometimes my creativity circles the globe in between my moments where it happens. So
Let me throw a little something more in your face here. The almost all of the parts I used for this custom came from that batch of stuff that you sent me last week.
and almost all the parts I'm using came off of eBay, one part at a time, having to pay shipping for them. Dick.
Yeah, I got the head
Dick.
off a figure off of Amazon, and I had all the gear already in my fodder bin, and I used pretty much just a straight figure that you sent me. And
Well,
holy shit,
what?
for as weird as it is, it fucking came out nice. You are going to love it. I guarantee it.
And indeed, fancy for you that provided my own custom fodder. Um, well, I have no doubts that I will love it.
Yeah.
And um, a month and a half from now, the day that you get back from the secret location that you're going to be traveling to, I'll probably have these finally finished.
And I should have the parts waiting for me when I get home to do my other one. I already know what I'm going to do. I have the build in mind. I'll need to do some sculpting and some painting, so I should be able to knock it out in a day or two.
All right. Well, you know what, folks? If I hadn't known this guy for almost 15 years now, I'd probably be pissed right now. But eh. Um. Yeah. Well, like I said, I just take the roundabout way of getting to uh, the creative wellspring. Um, I mean, I keep trying different parts, and some of them are mostly working, but I haven't figured out exactly what to do yet. And on the other figure,
Nothing's worse
I
than
try
custom.
different parts, and I'm just like, wow, somehow it's worse than that.
Yeah, nothing's worse than when you can't get a custom to come together and you've just been banging your head on the wall trying to get.
No, because yeah, because it's not like I had all the parts and the recipe picked out before I got them and it's coming together. That no, I actually bought a bunch of different things because I had a few different ideas to try stuff together, and it's just it's a lot of the figure is that stuff that I ordered, but I just keep second guessing some of it. I'm like, no, it's like a lot of the parts are still the ones that I had in mind initially, but every once in a while I have to swap something out because I'm just like, no, and then I swap something out, and then I decided an earlier part actually might work. I have a specific idea for what I want these customs to look like, but have I don't have a specific um, look for them. I'm kind of putting that one together as
Yeah,
I go.
most of my look, I leaned heavily on my paint job for, and I'll tell you what, I got some strange looks
What?
off the paint. So yeah, like I said, most I leaned heavily on my paint job for this one on my first custom. So I got some strange looks when I bought that paint.
Well, on mine, honestly, I just there's the obvious route for some of them, but that's where I keep running into resistance. I keep wanting to change things up and
Yeah,
make it different, and that's where I'm. If I would, if I could stop overthinking it, maybe I'd be making progress. But I just don't want to replicate what's already been done sometimes.
yeah, I
So
hear you. That's one of the things that I always try not to do. Sometimes it is really hard, and there is an occasional time where it's I see something that's really cool, and it's like I gotta have me one of those. So I will copy the recipe most of the like most of the recipe, maybe changing a few things up either because I didn't have the parts, don't want to spend the money on the parts that I need to make it that way, or I want to change it just a little bit enough to make it unique to me. But I do try and not replicate other customs that have been made.
well, and
Or
see, well, what I meant was the characters that I picked. There's certain established things that I could go with, but my instinct keeps saying no. Reimagine it, fly in the face of what's been established, and just go hog wild with it. So it's kind of what I'm doing. Um, Trying to keep some of the hallmarks of what'll make it familiar, but
see, and
give
I
it a
think
new look at the same time.
yeah, I think I know that's definitely one of the ways that you need to get that you like to do your stuff for sure.
Yeah. Um,
I only go so far in that. I mean, there are certain things where I will absolutely change 100%. That was goofy on the original figure, or it just doesn't work, or, color scheme that's just lame as all hell, something like that. That's when I'll change stuff up. Um, like the boogie board for my muskrat. Muskrat didn't get his boogie board when I made it, but there are there are iconic things in some of the customs that I think that I don't say that they need to be there, but I feel that they need to be there to make it recognizable. Whereas I don't think you have that problem, do you?
Sometimes, I mean, one of the customs, and there might I do because it is inspired by something, uh, not necessarily something that somebody else made. Because there's plenty of times where I'll see a custom, or over the years I've seen a custom and decide I'm going to make my own version of it. Same thing. I changed some stuff out uh, to fit my creativity better. And sometimes it's like a modern figure that it's inspired by. So of course it's got to get changed O-ring version. Um, but then sometimes there are something that's already been established, and sometimes I decide that that is the way I want to do it. I just want to make my own version of what's already out there, and I don't feel any need to change it up. But then there's other stuff that I make that I just feel the need to go in exactly the opposite direction. Um, and one of the one of the aims with this one is um, I kind of I want to go really different with it, but I don't want it to be completely esoteric. And
You want it
I don't
recognizable.
want
You want somebody to say, okay, I know which figures you guys picked. You know which guys each one of you threw out there for the challenge, and
exactly.
clearly this is the figure. You know, you picked this. I threw these out. You picked these two, and clearly these two are those two that you picked.
Exactly. I don't want to get too far away from that. Um, so, so yeah, I mean, they're coming along. I am making progress, but it's just not like I want to make these as badass as possible, and I'm fighting not to get in over my head with them as I'm working on other stuff too, because I have that problem definitely.
Yeah. Well, at
So
least you've got plenty of time to do them.
yeah, I just wish I could devote more time to the creativity of it. Um, but some days the creative juice is flowing.
And some days they do not. Yeah, I hear that because I had absolutely no idea how I was going to do my first figure until I got that box of stuff from you, and I looked at it. I'm like, you know what? That'll be fucking perfect. And then I was cruising through Amazon looking at stuff, and I saw this figure, and I'm like, that head is exactly the head that I need for my custom. And I was digging through parts, and I'm like, I found a part. I'm like, that would be perfect. This little accessory will be perfect
Exterminate.
for that
What?
for that first custom. So
Yeah.
I set it aside, and yep, it all just came together when I got all the stuff together.
Um, I had one of the characters picked out before I even got any of the parts for it. Um, but yeah, I'm
When it's really hard not to just like, this is the guy that I picked, and this is what I did right now.
that's the hard part too, because I badly want to just mention it. Like when I'm bitching about that one custom that I'm struggling on every single step with, it's because I can't just say here's the parts I have, but none of them are working, so I can get an alternative idea. Nope,
Yeah, because
nope. So
when either of us hits a wall customizing, who do we ask?
usually the other one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
been plenty of times where it's like, I want to do this figure. I have no idea how I want to do it. JD suggests something. And if I don't go with his suggestion, it usually sparks some sort of creative process that's like, okay, I don't I don't think that will work, or I don't have those parts, but that's not a bad idea, and I can go in this direction with it. And then there's definitely times where I get pictures from JD, and he's like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm like, dude, it looks fine. This is what you need to do with it.
um,
So yeah, and it's really hard to I didn't take any work in progress pictures like I normally did. I didn't post anything on my Facebook page like I normally do. I didn't put up my card art. I did like Easter eggs on the card. So you have to read the fine print on the front of the card to 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 even get like the full effect of the card, because I put little Easter eggs on the card. So
nice,
yeah,
nice. Okay, really looking forward to that. I
I'm gonna do the back of the card too, but I'm gonna have to do it from scratch. So that is gonna be like a 1 day process. That's one of the I think I'm gonna probably sit down and do it tomorrow.
if I had to design something like that from scratch, that would be at minimum a 1 week process for me. The first 3 days of that would be my refusal to sit down and start it. So
That's
this is why things take a long time with me, because sometimes I just look at it, I'm like, nope, not right now.
oh
And
I
then I
hear
go in the other room.
that's I sat down. That's all I did yesterday was make backs of cards yesterday. I made 17 cards yesterday.
My God, the follow through you have with things. It is
But I have
staggering to
nothing
me.
else to do. I am stuck in a hotel room in Houston, and I can't even go outside. So
Yeah, but that doesn't guarantee that if all I had to do was work on something like that because I had nothing but time, I still might find a pencil and start drawing on a wall or something. It is
see,
not
it's been
something.
interesting because what I'm doing is I'm doing file card. I'm doing the backs of GI Joe cards. So I'm going through Yojo and I'm reading all the file cards for all the guys that I'm doing. So it's like a huge trip down memory lane for the figures that I had, and it's like a trek of discovery reading the file cards of the figures that I didn't have as a kid and have never read.
Well, and every once in a while, he likes to text me trivia questions off of file cards that he's read because I have a data bank of all kinds of useless file card tidbits in my head
It's
at
not
all
even.
times.
I will text him and I will say, "Give me the file name for Beachhead right now."
Wayne R. Sneeden.
Exactly. And then I'll say, "Give me the secondary specialty for low light."
Lane instructor, I think.
Yeah, see?
Yeah. So, whereas,
Beachhead, I think, not low light. Low light was shit, I don't remember. But it was like observation or something. Oh no.
oh,
Let's see what year was low light. Low light was 87.
he was Lane instructor for two tours.
I think Wayne Instructor was Beachhead, honestly. I might be wrong on that, but
Yeah.
87 low light. Low light did not come out in 87, did he?
No, he was 86 with
Yeah.
Beachhead.
See, and that's
Oh,
one of the.
wait, is it infantry? I think it's infantry.
Oh my God, so many people have infantry on theirs.
I mean, it makes sense because GI Joe is primarily
It does.
modeled on the.
Infantry is his first primary specialty. His second one is marksmanship instructor.
That's why I was thinking the Lane instructor. He's a marksmanship instructor. Okay. But wow, that's weird. Of course, on his first file card, he's a night spotter,
Yes.
and on his 1991 file card, he is a night fighter.
Yeah.
And at no point is it ever referenced that he's actually a sniper who just kills people in the dark. But I guess I guess it's only there's only so much detail they can go into on file cards without getting people upset, like, Zartan. So,
Yeah, I did his file card yesterday too. Um, because if you've been following my Facebook page, you'll notice that I did a color change Zartan, and I made a glow in the dark Zartan.
I love that shit. That's awesome.
I saw somebody post it in one of the custom tips and tricks groups that I'm in, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know what I'm going to use that paint for, but I need some. So I bought it off of Amazon, and about 2 days before it got here, I was digging through all the parts that you sent me. I'm like, and I had a Zartan built. I had it built. I had it primed. I sent the work in picture progresses to JD. He'd said he'd critiqued it. I put it up on my Facebook page, and then the paint got there, and I'm like, no, I need to rebuild it from scratch. So I did, rebuilt it, primed it, started all over from the beginning, which is not something that I like to do, and painted it. And yeah, I used glow in the dark paint. I tried to airbrush it. It gummed up my airbrush because it is so thick. So I had to paint it on by hand. That's why it looks kind of like melted crayon. And then tried to airbrush it a little bit more and gummed up my airbrush again. So that's why if you look at it, like his chest and his head glow just fine, but his legs are kind of, they glow very lightly. It's because the paint has to be on really thick for it to work. So
Yeah, sometimes the paint can be a real pain in the ass to use.
yeah.
So, but yeah, see, yeah, I love it. Because I'm a big Zartan's my favorite bad guy, but I'm a big believer that there's very few ways to screw up a Zartan figure. Hasbro, you found a whole lot of them though.
Yeah.
But when it comes to customs, it is tough to screw them up because I see a lot of good Zartan customs.
I do too. Because that's one of the things that I do before I make a custom is I see what other people do, just so I can avoid those or say, hey, that works really well. Maybe I'll use a couple of those same parts, which is one of the things I did do on him, I will admit. I used the thighs that I'd seen on another custom. But shit, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Well, and when Brian said that,
Zartan, something about Zartan. I was gonna say something about Zartan.
yeah, well, I was gonna say when you said
my Zartan custom, well, I think I have seen plenty of people do like phasing customs where they've used like
me too. Yep.
translucent plastic. I'm pretty sure mine is the first and only custom that actually changes color.
Yeah, yours is actually, well, figure that's ever been made because the club made a completely translucent clear plastic one. They did one that was supposed to kind of simulate the change into identity, but
Right.
yeah, they never did a glow in the dark one.
Yeah, aside from, I'm talking customs. I'm not, because clearly the original figure changed colors, and a couple of the 25th anniversary ones did too.
Wait, no, but I mean, even the customs that I've seen, they tend to, midst of shape shifting. I don't think I've ever seen one that's just glow in the dark. I well, I'd like bioluminescent nature and that kind of stuff, and I love the idea that Zartan, as weird as he is and as deep as the mystery that he is goes, who's to say he doesn't glow in the dark?
Right.
And who's to say that it's not a completely natural camouflage ability? He may not be entirely human. I don't know. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Zartan, and I like seeing customs of him. But I really like seeing ones that are just really different. Speaking of really different, in the cartoon, Zartan is up on the space station. how come nobody has made an astronaut Zartan custom yet? Nobody ever. Not that he was an astronaut in that cartoon, but that's where the inspiration comes in, and you make an astronaut Zartan. I am not doing that, by the way. That's me putting it out there for somebody else, so somebody else can do
I see, and I think that'd be kind of cool to put a Zartan head on like a payload figure.
it. Made one custom, and I nitpicked it to death as I was making it. I don't want to keep doing that on Zartan customs because I'm such a big fan that, yeah, I just tend to. Oh, wait, I tend to do exactly what I'm doing on the customs for the challenge. Yes, it is a painstaking process. And I really suck at just doing head swap customs. I try, or even lazy customs. I try, but then I end up having to paint something or tweak something or change something out.
There's no way
one of the
to do a head swap. I
yeah
have to paint. Painting is my favorite thing to do. So that is
yeah and you know your customs, you prime the whole thing, so you start the paint job all over again, where there are things that I do avoid painting, like the skin. If I don't need to, I mean, if I need to I will, but if I don't need to, I prefer to just leave it as is and paint everything around it. But um and then there's times when I don't mind, depending on the specific custom. But um, yeah, Brian, yeah, his customs, he just starts with one big gray canvas, and then he just goes nuts and repaints the whole thing. And
like a bald bobber.
so
Gonna paint a happy little gun here. I'm gonna paint a happy little knife here, and we're gonna give them
basic.
happy little grenades here. So yeah. All right. So yesterday was Fan First Friday, which Hasbro announced, in my opinion, fuck all, or a couple of new 6-inch figures, notably a Pimp Daddy Destro, which
Profit director.
Profit Director, yeah, it's on that.
This
Profit Director, the figure, that's his MOS, his, like, instead of weapons designer or weapons specialist or weapons supplier, and he's the
yeah.
Profit Director. So I feel that's very, very, that's to me, that's kind of retro. I mean, that sounds very 80s. Sounds very Wall Street.
Well,
so it's kind of, it's not retro, but it is in a way.
Actually, no, I didn't make that connection, and now I actually appreciate it on that level. What sold me on that figure yesterday when I saw the pictures that Hasbro put up, where he's got all these accessories, all these random accessories with him, and one of them, he's got a pair of sunglasses that have like the lenses are, I don't know, yeah, I think they're red and they're blue and like not exactly like 3D glasses, but the same. And there's a picture where he's like this with the sunglasses, and I'm like, oh my god, that thing comes with sunglasses. And the pimpin' leopard skin cape, nice. So,
I am not a huge fan of
yeah, I do appreciate that.
But we'll get into that here in a minute, actually, because we were going to both talk about what we thought about the 6-inch figures, because I think we each have one now. Or do you? Well, we'll talk about it. And then the other one was an Amazon exclusive. They're calling it an Arctic Storm Shadow, but it's definitely an homage to the Ninja Force Storm Shadow with the white and the black with the white speckles in the middle. I looked at it and I'm going to pass on that one because it was too for me. I don't think, it's not saying there's anything wrong with Sigma 6, but it's just not my cup of tea. But I sent the link to JD and he did get one. Did pre-order that.
Yep, I did. I pre-ordered it. Um, I love that they made some homage to the Ninja Force Storm Shadow. Um, I'm. Why can I hear you, but your picture is not there at all?
My internet shit.
Yeah. Anyways, well, I guess as long as you can still hear me.
I've
Um,
got video too, so we're still good on this end.
okay. Oh wait, there's the video. It's back. So yeah, I love there's a nod to our Storm Shadow. I love that he comes with all this crazy gear like a grappling hook, so he can do like ice climbing or I don't know, ice murder. I don't know, maybe he's Storm Shadow. Who knows? He's got his own agenda. But um, I love I love the look of it. Yeah. And I could totally see where Brian says it looks Sigma 6 ish to him. There are definitely some elements of it that may not have been inspired by any of the 77 versions of Storm Shadow that came out in the Sigma 6 line. But there are definitely design cues that I could tell were inspired by it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I appreciate all those little creative touches that bring it together into one version of Storm Shadow. I'm not a traditionalist. I do not care if the 6-inch line has a lot of references to the original or if they, yeah.
All right. So you were saying that it's you don't care that it doesn't have that it's not too Sigma 6-ish for you.
No, I love some Sigma 6 influence in the every time they do that in the smaller line.
I think it's an interesting idea. I think if I don't know if it was intentional, but if they're trying to be intentional, I like the fact that they're trying to pull like from all of the different lines. I think that's it's like a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there. I think that's a good idea that kind of shoots out to everybody. And I kind of like the fact that they did that. If that was their intention, if they did it accidentally, then, well, so it goes. I did look at the Pimp Daddy Destro and was tempted for a minute, but nah.
I need it. I need it not because of the figure. Okay, quick background for anybody listening to this that is not aware. I don't know how you couldn't be at this point. It's such a legend in the Joe communities. But in 1997, for the Toys R Us line, there were 3 packs of figures. They were repaints of earlier characters. One of them was Destro from 1992, repainted in this deep red burgundy type color. Well, there was an early variation paint mistake where some of that same paint scheme for the 97 figure was overlaid by leopard parts. Well, the fans online took to calling it the Pimp Daddy Destro because, well, it's pimping. It's got leopard print everywhere. And he's got color, and, Destro, he's got the reputation as, a high and mighty player in the arms dealership, and, women love him type. So, and then in 2007, they repainted the 25th anniversary version of Destro in the same Pimp Daddy Destro color scheme for a convention.
For the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, and they did two variations on that. One has a silver head and one has a gold head. I have actually seen on the card one of the 97 Pimp Daddy Destros in person.
Nice.
There's a gal here in Houston that used to have a phenomenal GI Joe collection. It's probably one of the biggest in the country. I don't know that she still has it, but when I was here, I met up with Jimbo and Alyosha, and it's somebody that Alyosha knew, and he took us over, and we got a private tour of this lady's collection, and she has GI Joes from, like, she has almost everything that has ever been made, foreign, domestic,
Jeez.
prototypes,
Wow.
just really
Wow.
rare stuff. I mean, and Star Wars too. I mean, she had tons of Star Wars toy lines from everything. She has just very impressive. And one of the pieces that she has is the three-carded, the 97 three pack, and one of them is the Pimp Daddy Destro. It was pretty cool to see it in person.
I have seen.
So you were saying that you saw one in person.
Yeah, from a distance. It was in. I was in a shop or something, and they had a storage area, and I kind of saw it, and I didn't bother to ask if they could get it down so I could actually look at it. You know, people that have a business, you know, they're there to run a business, but even if they're collectors themselves and they have like a storage thing, you can't ask them to get too close to it, you know, because honestly, some of these collectibles, if you breathe on them wrong, well, you know, you could curse it or something. But so, I mean, I've seen one from a distance. I know they exist. The 2007 repaint was kind of a joke, but kind of a tribute. Well, this one came along. The pictures of this wave leaked on Friday, and I saw it, and I'm like, you know, I saw a lot of love for it, you know, a lot of praise for it, and I just thought that my exact thought was this would be much cooler if they hadn't already done this in 2007 for the anniversary version. But then yesterday, when Hasbro did that, I guess that live video or whatever, and afterwards I watched their broadcast of it. I didn't watch it live, but I watched it on YouTube after. And they put up all these additional pictures, and one of them showcased all these extra accessories. And I'm like, okay, that's what sold me on it, because I'm like, all right, it's not just another repaint debut to another thing. No, they actually decided to do this and have all kinds of fun with it and put all kinds of care into it. So that is what mostly is the appeal of it for me, because I'm like, clearly the people at Hasbro that put this together, they have passion and they love it, and I can see all the fun that they had, that they put into that figure. So I can appreciate it just on that level. If it was just a straight repaint, but it's not, and that's awesome.
Yeah, and to me, it's still in the wrong scale. So I'm having a hard time with that. Let's see what else they showed. The red ninja. It looks like kind of like a tech ninja. I think that had some like Sigma 6 appeal to it too. But again, it's an easy pass.
That red ninja has a couple of things going for it. Yeah, there's a little bit of Sigma 6. There's a little bit of the retaliation red ninjas. What there's a lot of is the Sideshow collectibles 12-inch red ninja that they made. There's a lot of that in there. So clearly, the people at Hasbro making this, they were definitely fans of the Sideshow figures. The accessories are great. The ninjas, you know, all the ninja gear is great, and I love ninjas, all ninjas. But that particular figure, I'm not really a fan because it's so busy looking. There is so much detail. There is so much. I mean, there's so much detail in the sculpt, and there's so much going in the paint job department, because obviously it's not just a straight up red figure with a few highlights. They've got a lot of paint apps going on, And between that and all the layers within the gear and the sculpting and the clothing, and I think it looks like a lot. I think um I think it's just too busy looking. I mean, that isn't to say that on the shelf I won't think it's awesome. I think I was just kind of shocked at to to see it because up until now, um, the classified 6-inch figures we've seen, they're very detailed,
Yeah.
but they're not all busy looking, and
Right.
that one kind of is.
When
So
I just saw the thumbnail and it was on my phone while I was sitting in bed. So I saw the thumbnail and I couldn't really see the colors really well, and I thought it might be the alley Viper because of how busy it was and how much gear it looked like it had with it. So I'm like, ooh, did they make the alley Viper? And then I clicked on it and enlarged it, and it's like, oh no, it's the Red Ninja. I'm like, yeah, it's still pretty cool, but
I mean, there's going to be an alley Viper because the art that has published from this toy line, like these character montages with the different characters here and there. The alley Viper is on the Cobra art. I mean, so obviously that one's coming.
on
The
the box
Baroness
art for all of them. I mean, it's on the box art for the Scarlet that I
got. Oh, okay, yeah. See, but um, so obviously there is an alley Viper coming. Then there's the Baroness coming. She's in all the art too. I'm kind of shocked that they're not. I just assumed that they were going to be part of Wave 2. Well, I guess they're not, or maybe they are, or maybe we just haven't seen it all yet. I thought for sure that those two would get their reveals. Well, because I thought it was going to be the Alley Viper, Baroness, and Gung Ho because they're all in that art.
got.
When in reality, we're still waiting on the Baroness and Alley Viper. Now we've seen Gung Ho.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that there's Gung Ho. They did do Gung Ho yesterday. I saw somebody complaining because he had hair now instead of being bald, and he doesn't have the Globe Eagle anchor tattoo that Gung Ho has traditionally had. And somebody pointed out that is actually the Globe Eagle anchor is actually copyrighted by the United States Marine Corps. So technically, they would have to pay the Marine Corps to use that logo. So that's probably why they did not use that logo. I think is the wisdom on that, and I think that's probably true.
Yeah, because if they have to get some kind of through the Marine for that, they don't want to be going for all that thing and
Yeah, they don't want it because it does not say Marine on his box. I noticed.
No, because they just probably can't. They probably just can't market him that way. Well, plus, here's the thing: is they're not. To look at them, they are clearly figures from a military organization, but they're not necessarily marketing it that way because the market right now isn't looking for realistic war toys. You know, it's not right now. So they look like, they look like an ass kicking force, but if people were really, they have a lot of modern elements like that, but at the same time, he's gung ho. We know he's a Marine. They just can't market him that way. Yeah. I don't have a problem with the fact he's got hair. My initial reaction was that's not gung ho. That's MMA fighter Chuck Liddell because, but that wasn't a criticism. It's just something I was pointing out. But here's the thing with that gung ho: it's big, it's badass looking. He's got all kinds of muscle. He's got all kinds of. He looks like he's gonna pull the door off the hinges
and then beat you with it.
But I don't like my complaint there.
Yeah, sorry, you're breaking up again. Man, this is just
Yeah,
like
no kidding.
times when we used to do this on Skype.
Yeah. Well, think how much worse it would be if we were using Skype.
Oh, I can't even imagine. It would be unmanageable,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, because
So
we're not.
they announced the Red Ninja Gung Ho, the Storm Shadow, and the Pimp Daddy Destro. Was that all they announced then?
Well, no, they made the announcement that classified Cobra Commander was going to end up coming out in both paint decos that we've seen, because initially he was the darker blue with the silver highlights, and then we saw a lighter blue version with gold highlights, and
There
it was
a
speculation that
online
one was a
with some app that they ordered it through, and I've seen everybody just gnashing their teeth and pulling their hair out over
well,
it from this NKTW app or whatever it is, and I am just glad that I had no interest in that, and it was a non-event for me.
I didn't order it. I haven't ordered it yet. I'm not. I've said all along with the 6-inch line, it's going to be character based. I'm going to pick and choose the ones for the characters, and I'm not a big enough Cobra Commander fan to need this, and it's not like I could say, oh, I want one. No, I can't. I don't really like the figure.
Yeah,
There's nothing inherently wrong with it. All of the elements put make it's fine, but with the rest of it, I think the darker blue version is cooler. The cartoony kind of Valor versus Venom lighter blue that they have going on, I'm not really a fan of it on that sculpt. But the rest of it, the gold details, I'm each but I'm not a fan of the rest of the uniform. Not really.
yeah,
Plus, I'm biased, so I just keep saying, yeah, where's Serpentor? That's what I need to see. I need to see Serpentor in this line because he's a guaranteed buy, even if he sucks. Like the 25th figure, which sucked, and I bought all three of them anyways. I that Serpentor was cool because it was big and beefy, like kind of Serpentor should be, kind of, a whole badass looking dude, but it also sucked. So I don't know if we're getting Serpentor in this line. I'd love it. I have
I
doubts
don't know.
that it's going to be.
I'm curious to see how far they go with this. I am predicting no further than 4 waves.
I do not think that they will get. No, they will get a full three waves out of it. Or have these waves, they need to be a little bit bigger. 5 or 6 characters in a wave. This 4 characters in a wave thing reminds me a lot of Sigma 6, and that kind of drove me crazy. But it
God damn
a bunch of characters, and they're going to have to get some of them out. I overall the Wave 2 stuff, it's okay. I don't like much of it right out of the, like, when we first saw the classified stuff, right away I said, I like if he's, hopefully they get the height right. That was my only criteria there. But I look Scarlet, not so much on Snake Eyes. And then I really like the look of Destro right off the gate. Like, all those are figures that I could buy and not so much with Wave 2. Yeah, Gung Ho is cool. Like I said, the paint job on his face kind of fucks it up for me.
I saw nothing there yesterday that I had to have.
Got
Not a thing.
Huh?
I saw nothing there yesterday that I had to have.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. I mean, I think I think they're off to a good start. Like I said, it just has to have character variety there for me.
I,
Um,
and that's I don't I don't know that they've figured that out yet. Still,
no, it
that's
was
why I'm
one of
thinking it's not going to go past 4 waves. The stuff they're going to have a million friggin' Cobra Commanders and a million friggin' whatevers sitting on the shelf that nobody wants. It's going to clog pegs again, and it'll be they'll
well,
manage to get 3 waves on the shelves, and then they'll announce a 4th wave. It will have
here's
decent figures in it, and then it won't get to retail because we're going to have the same wave 4 syndrome that we've talked about
yeah,
previously. We're going to have the same. This is going to have the same wave 4 syndrome that all Hasbro toy lines seem to suffer from by not being able to get that 4th wave out on the shelf because everything else is not sold and stores have stopped stocking it.
yeah.
So basically, we're just we talked about how long we expect the line to last. I don't expect it to go past 4 waves, just based on the wave 4 syndrome of stuff not selling and stores
You know what?
stocking them.
Well, I'll say the same thing drove me nuts in Sigma 6. The character variety wasn't there until the last year of the line, and that was at the point where the stores weren't carrying it a lot. So a lot of the really cool, various characters they gave us, like Shockwave and Grand Slam and Shipwreck, I didn't get a lot of those figures. By that time, I couldn't get them in the stores, and then it kind of went away after that. And I don't want the same thing to happen here. I want the waves to be bigger because I want a few more characters. My big wish list is Hawk, Serpentor, Lady J, and Flint. Is long and Stalker and Spirit and well, what the hell? We need Zartan. And I mean, at that rate, I think they really need to do Falcon and also Tunnel Rat. And this is the problem. They're not going to get to half of these figures before they put the kibosh on it.
No,
so
because
really,
we have 2 versions of Snake Eyes, 2 versions of Destro, 2 versions of Storm Shadow, and 2 versions of Cobra Commander. I mean, we've already had 4 characters that have 2 figures already.
yeah,
and the second wave isn't even out yet.
No,
this is
only
the shit that drives me crazy with Hasbro.
Well, and it's only a matter of time before there's some variation on Duke too.
Yeah.
But really, the pinnacle characters that I will be disappointed if they do not happen are Serpentor, Hawk, and Lady J. Everybody else, everybody else would be nice to see, but those are the ones that I most want to see what Hasbro working on this line can do with those characters in this scale.
I'm not even going to pick which characters I want to see, aside from the Alley Viper, because it's on the box art. There is just too many characters that I'm too attached to even make a short list of ones that I'd like to see that would even remotely inspire me to buy a 6-inch version of them at this point. Like I said, I think I said one time that if they made the Alley Viper and the Night Viper, I would for sure. And
then you bought Scarlet.
A Scarlet because I wanted to review the line for the YouTube channel, because if you're watching this, you can go find my review on the Scarlet.
It's a good review. I was riveted the whole time, and I'm not just saying that. I'm saying I like the way you did that review, and it made me wish you were buying more of the 6-inch figures so you could review more of them.
I'm not going to, because I don't want anything that I've seen, unfortunately.
I know like that. I'm just saying.
I've got the Scarlet. She's sitting on my customizing desk. I pretty much just threw away the crossbow that she came with because I never liked the crossbow for a weapon for Scarlet to begin with. Um, Even though it was like trademark, hallmark, like iconic. I didn't like it, and I said in my review, it comes apart, and there's no real reason for it to come apart. So if I was going to keep it, I would probably glue it together anyway. But she comes with 3 knives, so I put 2 knives in each hand, and I've got her like in a fighting stance on my customizing desk.
Well, and I think it's the best Scarlet they've made, regardless of the scale, because it's the only Scarlet straight out of the box that I can say, oh, I like it. There's nothing else they needed to do with it.
No, I agree.
There's really the original Scarlet. My biggest hang up with her was that she didn't have a green. There wasn't any green on her uniform. They could have had the leotard, but either made the tan parts green or made the gray parts green and had her blend a bit more with the rest of the line. But I mean, for its time, it was fine. But then the later Scarlet figures, the Ninja Force was a great design hampered by a terrible action feature figure.
Yeah.
But with traditional regular articulation, that could have been an amazing version of Scarlet. But
yeah, that's one of the reasons I was broke at the time that the Transformer crossover pack came out that had the Ninja Force Scarlet in it, because I would have gotten that.
Well, and I got that set. I'm so excited for that set. I got it, and there it is. There is the Ninja Force Scarlet in the modern style, and it is badass. Or the design, it proves that the design is great. That straight out of the package, what is my favorite Scarlet figure that's been made. Not the best.
That's been
not
made.
like this one, but yes, it is.
Because I am still of the opinion the best Scarlet figure. Well, I do like the classified 6-inch figure. I think it is a fantastic figure. I think the articulation is great. The sculpting is great. The paint is phenomenal. I love the fact that she has freckles. But in the 3 3/4-inch line, the perfect Scarlet figure did not get made, and that is City Strike Scarlet.
You know what? Wait. I remember
it came out a couple. I know a few people that, well, I don't know them personally. Couldn't tell you who they are, but I know a few people have a couple of the prototypes made it out the door. It was
because
for the.
I remember the
Rise of Cobra line. I don't remember which line it was supposed to be. I want to say Rise of Cobra.
I don't remember. I
think it's
Rise. I remember the Resolute version. The Resolute version was really great. It's a terrible head sculpt that fucked it up. But I don't remember the City Strike version. I do not remember it.
I'll send you. I'll post pictures in here. I'll have to find it. It'll take me a while to find it, but it's a really cool It's a prototype.
Well, I know as soon as I see it, I will remember it. I just don't remember it right now. But really, this Scarlet for me, I think it's the best one because every other time since the original line, they've made a new version of Scarlet that always maintains elements from the original Scarlet. There's still something off about it. I really liked, back in the Valor versus Venom days, they put out an all-new Scarlet that was in green. And then afterwards, they went and they repainted it in the tan and the gray, like the classic. And for a long time, that was my favorite Scarlet that they put out. But yeah, I don't one would hold up as much as it did for me at one time. But I like that. I like that figure. But all the other ones, like the 25th version, was a disaster straight out of the gate. Bad articulation, goofy proportions, and the previous new sculpt version came out in the Joe versus Cobra line, had a tiny head
Yes.
and again, way too busy with the whole thing. So the version from 2002, way too busy in scope. Same problem as the Red Ninja. So I mean,
I kind of
I'm
like
not a big fan of Scarlet.
I liked the armored version that came out with the Rise of Cobra, the one based off the movie.
Yeah, see, that one was just another. The reactive impact armor in that movie I thought was nifty on screen. I thought it made for some boring toys. Um, they were, it was fine. I mean, I like the actress in the movie who portrayed her okay. I'm not a big Scarlet fan. I've never been a big
I know
Scarlet
the
fan.
actresses that played Baroness and Scarlet both hated the action figures.
Um, well, I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
Well,
they were both. Uh, they had a bet going to see which figure was uglier. Apparently,
um, well, see, the thing is, a lot of times the sculpts are good, the paint jobs suck. But again, the actress who played Scarlet in the movie, I thought she did a pretty good job.
yeah,
I don't know if she maybe she could have done better. Maybe she did what she could with the script. I don't really know. Maybe it was the way the character was written. The actress who played the Baroness was outright terrible. But then it turns out I've seen other movies with her in it, and she's not great in any of it. So that could be her fault. The actress who played Scarlet, aside from playing the Orion Starfleet Academy
oh yeah, I
student
forgot that was her.
that Kirk almost went to bed with in the 2009 movie. Yeah, that's the only other thing I've seen her in. I don't have a lot to compare her performance there and Scarlet. Not a whole lot in common, really. But
No.
so I mean, she was fine. But Scarlet is a character I've always been able to take her lead. I fully acknowledge why she's so important in the mythos. I mean, and I do not dispute that.
Yeah.
Personally, I've never been a big fan. And then Lady J came along, and that was the end of the time frame for me to get endeared to Scarlet because Lady J came in and kicked her ass in in a
See,
green army uniform.
I gotta think for redheads, so I gotta have me my redheads.
And see, I've always had a thing for women in uniforms, and I can't say that's not entirely Lady J's fault. I think it might be.
Yeah.
So, um, well, yeah. Well, it was either her. Um, what's her name from Police Academy? She wore the sunglasses. She was blonde. She
Oh,
was an ass kicker.
yeah.
I cannot remember I can't remember half of those characters' names. Yeah. So it was either Lady J and or her. Maybe both. I don't know. But Scarlet, like I said, I do not dispute the place that Scarlet has in G.I. Joe. She is critical. She's important. Of course, they're going to start with her. But just for once, I'd like to see a series of action figures that starts with Lady J and Hawk, and then gets around to doing Duke and Scarlet. Because usually, if Lady J and Hawk happen, then Flint happens.
Right.
But yeah. But as a Scarlet figure, I think it's great. But I don't know. I want to see more characters besides just the ones that like I said, the last year of Sigma 6 is when I thought it was really awesome because they were finally giving all kinds of different characters. You couldn't get them in the store.
Well, and they came
But
with a bunch of cool accessories too.
yes, the Sigma 6 line really thrived on the accessories they were putting out, the detail, the gimmicks with it. The Sigma 6 was a really well done toy line that suffered from having too many duplicate character versions early on, and it suffered from the weird scale.
Yeah.
8 inches was it was an awkward scale for a toy line. More awkward because, well, I mean, 6-inch, yeah, it's a little weird sometimes, it's a little unwieldy, but they make a nice display. At 8 inches tall, they're taller than 6-inch, so they're awkward, but
About the
there's
only other
nothing else.
line that I can think of that off the top of my head is Centurions.
I don't really remember those figures well enough to even know what scale they were in. I do remember they were way bigger than the Joes,
Yes.
but I don't really remember the scale because I only had one of them. I don't really remember.
Well, I've got one. Oh, wait. I don't have it here because I'm not in my Joe room for me to measure and see how big it is. But yeah, so and the other thing that I was so we saw 4 yesterday announced, and I think the other thing that I was disappointed with yesterday was there was no reference to or unveiling therein of the retro line.
That doesn't mess up anything for me because I never expected there to be. I am absolutely certain that the retro line, it is only going to be showing up at Walmart and Target. It is not a world.
Did you hear that it's going to be at Target? Because I've heard that it's only at Walmart.
I read somewhere that it was in the Target computers too. I have no idea.
Oh,
I read about it the other day.
Stuff for it, and I think those are 6-inch figures. I don't think those are the retro line figures.
All right. Well, either way, I didn't expect the retro line to show up for this. It's happening. We know for a fact it's happening. We don't know anything about it. It's not a worldwide release. It is purely a collector-based line, and this fan event was going to get worldwide attention, and it did, because it was not just for G.I. Joe, but it was also for the Transformers. And, of course, it was going to get a lot of attention. Nowhere in that formula does an obscure collector's line of possibly retro, possibly not retro G.I. Joe figures.
Obscure?
Yeah, it does.
Obscure?
Not among us, but to the rest of the world that doesn't live in the U.S., they're never going to see those figures anyways.
That makes me sad. We've got so many friends, all over.
Well, yeah.
England,
I mean, and it does suck.
South Africa that are never going to see these things, and they're going to. Well, depending on what they are and how cool they are, these guys are going to.
They might want them, yeah. And if they're badly distributed, we're not going to be able to get them anyways. So it's not like we'll be able to buy extra to send to people that we know. We might not be able to get them at all ourselves.
Right.
But
I'm not even sure that it's. I was going to say that I've been watching the people hunting down the Star Wars retro line right now, and of course the hard figure to find is Boba Fett, quickly followed by Yoda.
And no shit, really?
Yeah.
Please.
So I'm assuming that if Storm Shadow or Snake Eyes is in this line, those will be the figures that everybody is going to, that the scalpers are going to go after.
Yeah.
And all the scalpers die in a fire.
I was going to say no. The scalpers are going to go after all of them. The regular buyers that are not completists like us that see them, that they're casual fans or were fans, if they see them in the store, they're the ones that are going after Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. But the scalpers are going to buy them all and resell them all at ridiculous prices. And the rest of us...
They're not doing that with the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, but they are with Boba Fett, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I'm saying. They're going after specific figures. They're not doing the whole line. They're not scalping.
No. No, but to start with, the scalpers will be scalping all of them, and the ones that they can't sell for scalper prices, or the ones that do become more common in the store that aren't scalper bait like that, like the 13th retro Luke Skywalker that they um yeah, but yeah, so eventually Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow will be the most expensive, but those are going to be the ones that appeal to the casual buyers.
Yeah.
But again, I wasn't disappointed that the retro line never showed up for the fan event yesterday because I never thought it was going to.
I have to say, I think you're probably one of the few people that put that one together because I was fully expecting to see something about it yesterday. Although I did hear somebody say that they mentioned it briefly and said that they were working on vehicles for the line. So I don't know.
Okay. Um, you mean the retro line, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then one of two things is happening. Either Hasbro has gone crazy and they did pay to recreate molds of classic figures in the O-ring style, then they're probably paying a lot of money to remold vintage vehicles that um,
Oh, I doubt they're
that
doing that. How many Awe Strikers have they made over the years?
no,
they can
no,
shoot
but that's what I'm
Awe
saying.
Striker and a
No,
shark without blinking.
no, I know that. No, I'm saying if they're O-ring figures that are recast, then chances are they're gonna pull up some that were in the 25th line, and they'll retool them back to fit the retro style stuff, um, or um, or the retro line is newer stuff and it is a bunch of repaints, and then they just have to dig up the 25th molds again and not have to re-engineer anything on them.
Yeah. All right. So
Um,
what is your prediction? Is it going to be now? What do you want? I already know.
dude, you know what? I can't predict it
I'm
because honestly,
just curious.
they've done such a good. No, dude, I can't predict it because I don't know if they're over, therefore expensive for Hasbro, or if they are 25th, therefore not as expensive and also not even slightly exciting. Um, I can't predict without knowing which format they're going with for this.
That's what I'm saying. Which format do you think they will do?
I don't know because my bias plays into it.
Uh,
Because again, with the 25th line, it has not been long enough for it to actually be considered retro. So if they're going that way, then it's both lazy and disappointing.
which has
Or
Hasbro written all over it to me.
right, exactly. But if it's a proper retro line, then at least some of the vintage stuff is being recreated. So that's great. But I can't, dude, I can't make a prediction on it because it really depends on the format. I mean, I can predict as far as this. No matter what figures are coming out, Duke, Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, Cobra Commander, and Roadblock will be part of it.
Yeah, probably.
And probably Gung Ho and Destro. But beyond that,
It's
I don't know.
Yeah, nobody knows.
Um,
When are they? I don't think I've heard any kind of like release date or announcement on that. When we are supposed to hear on it.
Next month is the projected release date for the retro collection that we don't know anything about.
Yeah, because I've seen stuff online saying that it's in the States and it's in Canada.
There were bills of lading from the freight company or from the distributor overseas to the United States and Canada, the carriers that are bringing it over. Yes, there were bills of lading that listed the contents as far as being GI Joe figures 3 3/4 inch.
Yeah.
So either they are actually vintage and they are actually 3 3/4, or for the sake of ease, GI Joe 3 3/4 is what they put on the outside packaging, but the figures themselves could be 4 inches and they're modern style. It can't be both, and it can't be a mix.
No.
But yeah, I can't really predict it. I just can't believe that the line that was speculated on for so long, we finally get confirmation that it's actually happening. But that includes no extra information that we don't already have. It's rare for a toy line to be able to play some, or for a toy company to be able to play something this close to the best.
I've never
I
seen
mean,
it happen. I mean, normally at this point in time, we would be buying factory seconds off of eBay right now,
um,
because there's usually
well,
that like Tugori usually has stuff.
well, it's particularly weird to me because even when the first retro stuff for the Transformers started coming out before Walmart got it, I think it was Optimus Prime and Megatron. Yeah, they were. There was no, the collectors knew that they were coming in the retro line. Um, then there was no doubt about the format. Where in this case, it's the retro line that we don't know the format and we don't know the characters. It is weird that we don't even have any sort of reasonable time frame or reasonable reference to frame this in. This could be a surprise.
Yeah, it is a surprise. I mean, nobody knows what the fuck's coming out, and it just occurred to me that I have not seen anything on eBay. I mean, when the Iron Man 2 stuff came out, when the Iron Man 3 figures came out, especially the Iron Man 3 figures, they were all over eBay months ahead of time before they hit the States. Because I remember just you could hear my heart break when I saw what the assemblers were. Those were the shittiest figures they've ever made compared to the Iron Man 2 line.
Yeah, it's weird because yeah, there's nothing about these that's leaked on eBay. There's nothing about these that has leaked on Weibo or Taobao, which are both basically Chinese eBay type listings, where a lot of times the Transformer stuff will come out early through there. There'll be leaks from there. There'll be then, and sometimes they would have the Star Wars, the upcoming GI Joe stuff too. I mean, they sell it a lot of times without accessories and all that, but
Right.
it's usually the legitimate releases.
Right.
But yeah, there's been nothing about the GI Joe retro line on either of those either. And by this point, I would think that somebody somewhere, if they knew what was coming, would be leaking this. Now, that isn't to say that in a day or two or a week, we're not going to see a giant leak where 6 of the however many figures do show up on eBay and they do go for ridiculous amounts of money.
Yeah.
And they do sell a shitload of them before a cease and desist is sent. Because by that point, maybe Hasbro will decide, oh, let's actually show them off. But don't know.
I can't think of any toy line from Hasbro that has not, that they've been able to keep wraps on like this before.
Yeah, they never. Yeah, it's really weird. I think. I think it's something that we're gonna have to wait on. And the only problem with that is they're building anticipation for something that is only just guesswork at this point. It feels a lot like when a TV show that's been adapted from some other source material starts on TV, and people keep wanting to make predictions or guesses on things because it's based on something that's previously established. But then the creators on the show decide to go in a different direction, and the fans get frustrated. But then they go back to the old standby of again using the previously established material to try to make guesses because they don't want to think too far outside the box.
Right.
And this is kind of what that feels like. We know the source material, we just don't know which direction Hasbro's going with it.
Yeah.
Again, we just know that there's 8 characters that we're guaranteed to be getting.
Which I think is interesting. And it's interesting to read the threads on this because everybody's pretty evenly split on, it's got to be new sculpt because the O-ring molds don't exist anymore. So they, there's no way Hasbro would have invested the money into remaking them, or it's got to be O-ring because the 25th anniversary stuff's not old enough to be considered retro. I mean, I think they're both valid arguments.
I mean, I don't know. If they are O-ring style, then I'm getting one of each and a second of the ones that I need to use for custom fodder.
You're getting 2 of each because I'm not in the fucking United States when these things come out.
Yeah, but again, I might not even find them for myself at this. But, I mean, here's the thing. If it is those basic 8 characters, I'll get them because they'll be O-ring figures. And I know the speculation. Oh, they'll be in retro packaging. Well, yeah, they will be. We already saw retro packaging with the 25th line. I get it. I know what they're doing, but it makes me glad that I open everything I buy because I don't need. If they are the same, if they are the basic characters, well, then there'll be basic characters on cards that look like the basic characters on those same cards looked like in 2007. But see, here's the thing with this. I'm not looking to be surprised. If I could just find out which format they're using, I'm not looking to be surprised. I just want some concrete information about it. I mean, I'm not going to complain if I do get it, if they do, drop in some surprises like, but I don't know. I don't know. Does Hasbro have enough faith in it to sink the expense into recreating the old stuff? I don't know. Does Walmart have enough faith in it? I really don't know.
That's a good question.
I'm hoping they do.
I don't know, man. And then if those are the retro figures that are showing up on the Target computer, they're listing it like $19.99 a piece. So I'm curious to
how much?
$20 a piece.
Oh, those have to be the 6-inch stuff then. I can't imagine a single basic carded retro figure being $20. I mean, that's not impossible.
Yeah, no, I think if they're molds, I think that I could see that being for $20.
Yeah, if they are recasted vintage molds, sure, I could see it. But especially if they are modern stuff, they're just flat out not worth it.
No.
But
the only thing that would make the $20 for me again is if they are O-ring or if they are completely new, modern, like Pursuit of Cobra level awesome.
Ha!
Dare to Dream.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cute that you honestly think there's a slight chance that they'll do something.
That did not
Mind
say
blowing.
it. I said that would make it worth it to me. I do not believe
Yes.
that's a possibility.
Okay. Yeah. See, where I hope that it's possible, but the rest of the 90% of me that's cynical doesn't believe for a second that that's actually going to happen. But
all of me that is saying this is going to be a repainted 25th anniversary style figure.
yeah, and if that's the case, I'll buy a couple of the characters so I don't have to go and buy the 25th versions again. Because I don't
still have a huge
well,
tub of unopened 25th anniversary figures sitting somewhere.
well, and see, all the 25th figures that I bought were collected for a while, and a lot of them were customized and got lost along the way. And now I have very little of the 25th stuff left. And every time I look and I see, there's one or two that I want, then I look at eBay and I'm like, yeah, but I don't want them that much. So, no. So
I was
I don't know.
during the 25th anniversary. I kept most of I got most the single carded stuff. I got two of. I got one to keep on the card and one to open. So I still have pretty much the entire wave, with one or two exceptions, still on the card. And then I bought a shitload of them when I was in Afghanistan, because I was planning on doing a Dio story. And so I bought like 10 eels and 10 snow serpents and 10 paravipers, and then just a bunch of other stuff for custom fodder. And I haven't touched those. So I still have a bunch of the 25th anniversary stuff on cards that aren't part of my collection, really. So if it's 25th anniversary stuff that's coming out in the retro line, I probably will pick up a couple of them, like you. Number one, to support the line, to say, yes, I will still buy G.I. Joe figures if they're 4-inch and at retail, and to review on the YouTube channel. But I will not be a completist. If they were O-ring, yeah, I probably will go and get them all.
Yeah, and if they're modern and they're troopers of any kind, I'm absolutely out. I don't care what it is. I'm not buying them.
That's where you and I definitely differ, because my one of my all-time favorite things for G.I. Joe is the specialty Viper. I mean,
no, I like all of that stuff. I'm not an army builder. So if they're modern stuff being, if the retro stuff is the modern stuff in the same old color schemes, I absolutely just don't need them. But when I buy troopers, I mean, I love specialty Vipers, but I usually only have one or two of them.
Yeah.
But if I'm buying them, they're usually just to sit. They're usually just to sit someplace. I don't buy them. Like I don't army build them. If there's a trooper that I do want to army build, I'm good with 3 of them, maybe 4, depending on how much they. But see, I love the specialty Vipers. But if these are just 25th updates of troopers, I don't need them. I just don't have any use for them. If they're vintage, I'm all over them. If not, then it's characters for me.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, if they're just plain old Vipers, Vipers are cool, but I feel like they've been overdone for a long time in every format, in every different collection of G.I. Joes. There's always been Vipers.
Those were two
I
of the
don't.
last customs were Vipers. So
Yeah, but see, I like seeing custom Vipers. I'm tired of seeing Hasbro Vipers because they're just variations on the same thing. And while that's okay and that's understandable, I don't need any more of them. So even if these are retro O-ring figures with all new molds based on all of the original molds, that's great. Then I'm only going to end up with one or two of them. I'm not going to army build them anyways. But if they're modern,
yeah,
I mean, ideally, I'd actually really like to see. I'd like to see the Televipers and the Techno Vipers again. Well, and if they're modern, the Techno Viper would do well with a re-release because I know a lot of people in the Army built the modern version in the 50th line or the 30th line or whatever the hell it was. And everybody always complained they couldn't get enough of those Techno Vipers. And that was cool.
I need one myself because I want to do a female Techno Viper for a custom.
Well, and I like the original Techno Viper, except for the helmet. The helmet sculpt, the Techno Viper's helmet in the card art was really cool and really angular and had a lot of jagged edges on it. Where the sculpt of the head was really rounded and kind of bulbous looking, it didn't capture the details at all from the card art. Well, the modern update, the 25th style Techno Viper did. It had all the edges and all of the layered look from the card art. They perfectly recreated that in the sculpt of the new one. So my Techno Viper that I have, my O-ring one, has the head off the modern Techno Viper because it's so much better.
Really? Oh, that's interesting.
I replaced the head with.
I got to see that.
You've seen it. I was gonna say, I think you've seen it, but it was years ago. It was a couple of years ago that I posted it, and you probably don't remember.
No, I don't remember
that. Well, because I just remember taking dio shots of it with the custom Joe that I made at the same time. In the Star Brigade line in 1994, the armor bots that came out, they were basically little walking mech suits, sort of. They were kind of dumpy. They were a little weird looking. They were cooler ideas than they were toys. But the toys, the Cobra one included a Techno Viper repaint. And the Joe one included a repaint of Barricade that was renamed Gears. He was a different character. And a few years ago, I made a custom of a completely reimagined version of Gears. And I made the Techno Viper with the modern head upgrade at the same time so I could take dio shots of them fighting each other.
That sounds familiar. And it always gets me when I talk about one of my customs and you're like, I don't remember seeing that at all. And then I counted all of the carded customs that I have done, and I was well over 160. Okay. That's pretty hard to keep up with my work thing. I have I have over 160 of my customs on cards right now.
Well, and a lot of times if I say, I don't know if I've seen that custom, and you send me a picture, yes, it turns out, yes, I did see it. I just didn't remember it.
Fair enough.
But I don't. But yeah, like, if these new figures are modern and there are troopers that do have heads that I could use on vintage figures, okay, see, those I'll buy. I'm just not going to buy them to hang them up or collect them as is. If there's a custom use, oh, I'm there.
Okay, yeah, I will take a step back, and it's funny you should say that because I was thinking it earlier, and then forgot it when I said what I would and would not buy. And yes, if these are decently sculpted custom fodder figures, regardless of what style they are in, I will buy them. Absolutely.
Um, what one of the things um, one of the things is if it is a modern style, I am really hoping that they are not just recasts of the 25th stuff. I hope there is some new tooling and sculpting involved.
Yeah.
Um, because I don't think the 25th version of the Televiper was a massive improvement over the original.
It was not because I was. It's funny you should say that because I was just thinking that because I've been going back and I've been collecting. Number one, I've been collecting the vintage specialty Vipers, um, and I've been customizing female versions of specialty Vipers, and I'd like to do them all at some point. Um, and I was thinking, okay, if I do a Televiper, um, what are my options for gear on that? And I'm like, did they even do a 25th Televiper? And that's how bad that figure was that I had to stop and remember, did they actually make one? Because I tried so hard to forget it.
Yeah. The original Televiper was a really nifty figure that I never liked the head sculpt of.
Oh, I
They
love the
did
head
not,
sculpt on the original one.
huh?
I love the head sculpt on the original one.
Yeah. See, I don't. They, um, the original Televiper, the 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 helmets never looked as cool on the toy as they did in the cartoon or even in the Marvel comics. Whereas, see, the head on the toy does really match his card art, which is also subpar. But then when the 25th Televiper came along, the only improvement, I don't think the head sculpt was a massive improvement. He still had kind of the open growly teeth sculpt that the original had. The only advantage I think the 25th Televiper had over the original is that it wasn't just all one sculpted piece. The microphones for the helmets actually they detached. I mean, you had to take them off, but at least they had them in multiple parts. So I think that helped. But if they did a new Televiper with a new head sculpt that actually was that could approach as cool as the Techno Viper, that'd be great. I'd be all over it. But yeah, I looked at the 25th Televiper and my vintage one. I'm like, I don't know. Could the head substitute? No, nope.
And honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing personal preference, of course. Uh, there have been a couple specialty Vipers that have been made in the newer sculpt that I would love to have more of just because I couldn't get them. Um, and I want them for customs. And that is the Heat Viper that came out in the 50th anniversary line. And I get a lot of flack for that. Um, I never had the Heat Viper as a kid. I thought it was a goofy figure then. I thought it was a goofy figure when I started collecting GI Joe again, right before I started customizing. But
it is in fact a goofy figure.
See, like I said, I get a lot of flack for that, but it is one of the goofy figures that I have come to really love over the last couple of years. And I missed the update. And there's not a lot of people that like the updated version of it in the 50th anniversary line, but I think it's fantastic. One of the complaints is that the hose doesn't fit into the helmet anymore, and I was able to remedy that very easily on my female Heat Viper. I love the figure, the update. I love my my female Heat Viper custom. The other one is the Frag Viper that came out in the convention set.
You mean in the skin tight Snake Eyes pajamas in brown?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
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 Meh. 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 So yeah.
And I again didn't have that figure as a kid. Thought it was goofy as fuck. Wanted nothing to do with it. Didn't want it when I started collecting again. And then I made a Heat Viper, a Frag Viper custom using the Ultimate Duke body, and it came out fantastic. One of my favorite customs, and I had suddenly had a whole new love for the Frag Viper.
Yep. And see, I think the original is goofy as fuck, and I think the new one is a perfectly adequate update of a goofy as fuck figure that did nothing to improve it and also did nothing to diminish the original. It was at that point I'm like, nope, I really just don't care about the Frag Viper enough to give a shit. But yeah, and see, that's one that I could get a brand new head sculpt for it, and it wouldn't matter because it's still a Frag Viper, and who cares? No, I know you do, and see, that's why. See, your custom's really awesome because you use the original helmet design, and so does the official one. But I'm just like, but see, you reimagined it in terms of the recipe for the rest of it.
Yeah, because
I always had trouble with it.
Trying to get away from that skin tight suit. I thought I think the skin tight suit is kind of goofy, but again, at the same time, I'm kind of partial to it. So when I do, and I will do a female Frag Viper at some point in time, so I am still not sure if I'm going to make her look like a female version of my custom, or I'm going to make her look like a female version of the original one, because skin tight suit actually tends to work very well on female figures.
No, really?
Yeah. At least as
but
a guy, I just, maybe that's sexist and I apologize, but
well, maybe it is, but you know, that usually is the case. But in the case of the Frag Viper, I'm always a fan of, again, reimagining something if you can. Like, your Range Vipers don't look like, it's not like they're remotely updates of the original. I mean, they're blue, they have skull faces, but you know, it's like
some of
your
them
email version
not
belong, and
whole road of them after they have replaced all their gear, like it says on the file card. You know, my Range Viper.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, I mean that. But even your regular Range Viper,
yeah,
it's not like it's just a modern update. No, you made a bunch of changes, and they were all changes for the better. And that's why when you did your female version, you made a bunch of changes and all for the better. It's not like you decided to do another figure that updates the original, because you didn't.
Yeah.
But
see, and
therein
lies the challenge on a female Frag Viper. Is do I? It would not be hard for me to make one that looked similar to my female Range Viper. It would look cool. That's not a challenge. The challenge would be to make it look more like the original one and make it look good. To update it enough to make it look awesome. That is the challenge. That would be a challenge. And honestly, that's kind of the way I'm leaning, because I have ideas on how I would do that. But
well, and that I would like to see, because the original Range Viper.
No, Frag Viper.
Yeah. Or Frag Viper. Yeah, the original is just so there. I mean, my biggest hang up with it is that it's got this cool helmet sculpt that doesn't go with the rest of the body.
No.
And when the club updated it with the Snake Eyes body, the big problem there was, again, cool helmet does not match the rest of the aesthetics.
Yeah.
And that is what, like I said,
Yeah, too. I mean, the color scheme is not horrible, especially for GI Joe, but the
it's
helmet
fine.
does
It's
not
just
match the
weird
at all. And that's one of the things that I did with my male Frag Viper custom was I made the rest of the body go with the original head, and I think it works well.
Right, which is why I want a female version to do the same thing. Have the helmet blend with the rest of it because it's just weird. It's a weird design.
It is, and it's really grown on me over the last few years. All of those really weird specialty Vipers. I mean, even the Saw Viper and the Flak Viper. I mean, I made a Flak Viper custom a few years ago, and I love that thing because I reimagined it, but still kept it close enough to the original that you can tell what it is. And you look frustrated.
You know, when you're working on a custom and you have an idea and you're like, I know it's going to work, but I just can't make it work right now, but I know it's going to come to me. It's not something that I have to second guess because, it's not working out like I thought. No, it's going to work out. I just keep having to try and start over to find the right solution, and I'm getting annoyed at it. But it's not like something where, I can find another solution. No, this is the solution. I just have to, it just has to cooperate with me, which right now it's not doing.
It's one of the challenge figures you're working on?
No.
No.
But it is another one that has challenged me, just not, it wasn't you. It was, there was an old Hasbro concept that's challenging me, all right. It's pissing me off. But
this is,
I know it's going to work. I just have to figure out how to do it.
Yeah. Is it the soft goods?
Yes. Fucking fabric.
And I do not like working with soft goods unless I can help it. How many customs have I made? Let's see. I had Killuminati make me one for one of my seals a long time ago. I had to make me a coat for a blade custom. I was going to do a Leonidas custom, and I bought some really nice cloth for the cape, but I couldn't figure out how to make the cape because I don't know how to do any of that shit. And then I did a Batman Begins version of Batman, how he looks with the fear gas, and he has a cape, but I think I just took that off another Batman figure. I don't think I actually made that cape. The cool thing about that cape, I got it off a Microman figure, and it has a piece of wire in the cape, so the cape is moldable. So it's soft goods, but you can pose the cape, which is really awesome.
Oh, yeah. See, that is cool. That is something that I wish that I could do. I do not have the skills for that.
No.
That's not even something like, let's try it. Let's see if I can make it work. No, I have tried it. I haven't been able to make it work. And all it does is end up frustrating me more than before I tried it.
That seems like something to me that shouldn't be that hard. You cut something in that shape, you take a piece of wire, you get some cloth glue, you glue the flap over the wire, and you should be done, but it isn't that simple.
No, it's a simple idea that still takes a lot of finesse to make it work. I just don't have it. I just don't have it. So it's one of those things. I'll figure it out. I'm just annoyed with it right now. But hang on.
Did you
Nope.
just have a brain?
Okay. But yeah, I'll figure it out. I mean, well, while we were doing this, I did make a decision on one of the challenge customs that I wasn't quite sure a direction to go in on it. So I did figure that out. So
Which one was that?
progress made.
And which
What?
one was that? And which?
One of the challenge. No, one of the challenge customs.
Yeah, which one?
What?
Which
Shut up!
one?
I'm not telling you shit. Get out of here. Get out of here. I see what you're doing. Get out of here.
I had to try.
Yeah, you had to try. Yeah. Luckily, I'm really, really slow on the uptake with everything. So
I was counting on that. That's why I figured you might actually say something.
yeah, I really, yeah, you could try, but yeah, keep trying. Good testing.
Yeah, no, I figured you looked pretty distracted. I'm like, if I say which figure, you might just actually say it.
Well, and see, when I first repeated it, I thought maybe I had Daleked out here on the sound and you had just missed what I said. Then I realized, he's pulling a funny.
Yes.
For a guy who's not that funny to pulling a funny, good job. So, do or do not, there is no try. Some little green bastard said that.
Yeah, good point. I think that's about all I had for this, and we've gotten a decent show. So this mainly was to test whether or not my internet was going to work in quarantine.
It turns out it doesn't. But
well, it has
we're
for like the last hour.
No, we're going to adapt and persevere and keep going, much like a species at the end of its time on this planet. We're going to make it work somehow and just carry on for as long as we do before we sink into the sun.
Yeah. So I don't have anything else. So we touched on where we are on the custom challenge. It's progressing well. It's progressing well for me. It's painstakingly progressing for JD. We talked about the announcements on the fan favorite Friday or whatever the fuck it was fucking called. With the new G.I. Joe classified figures. That was one of the things I was going to ask. Do you have one of the G.I. Joe classified figures in hand?
No. I will. You know what? I want them and I'll buy them. I don't need to pre-order them. I'll see them eventually. And I'll see them eventually. And I'll probably just end up buying the ones I plan to. But I don't really have anything that I particularly need to. I don't need them right away. So
yeah, I was gonna say because they're shipping off of Amazon. So people, if you're waiting for them to show up, I know it says shipping in July on Amazon, but when I ordered the Scarlet figure, it said shipping in July, and I got it in 2 days. So if you're holding out for them to show up in retail and you're just kind of like, maybe I want them right now, go ahead and get them off of Amazon because chances are they actually do have them in stock and we'll get them to you fairly quickly. So that was Fan Force Friday, and we talked about the retro line and see if my internet would work. So I think that's about all I've got for today's episode. Definitely, we've got more coming up because we still are trying to get a guest lined up. I need to chat with him and see if he's available this week, and we'll see if we can get
that. That's my futile hope for optimism laugh. We can only hope.
Yeah, because we scheduled them twice and it didn't work out either time. So
look, people are great, but I have no faith in humanity to follow through on things, including in my own life. Don't worry, I'm a hypocrite. I know this. But yeah, we're just I think it worked out okay. I mean, good luck editing this one, buddy. You have my sympathy. Yeah. So
like in a total total Quentin Tarantino move here, and I don't mean ultra violence and profanity, but we've shot this completely out of sequence, and we've already done the end of this video. However, we decided there was one other topic that we wanted to talk about and completely forgot about it, so we're recording it now and adding it in. So, and that was that Black Major um, that does the, I guess, reproduction stuff is kind of the best way to put that, but it's not exactly reproduction because they do a lot of reimagination with it as well, with different color schemes. But the Black Major
Yeah.
guys just put out a
Yeah.
whole bunch of Cobra Eels in different color schemes, and JD and I have gotten a couple of those.
I got the set with there's a Red Shadows eel. There's a black and red eel or a black and yellow eel that was inspired by
What is the black and yellow supposed to be?
that is, well, I think it's based on Cobra de Aso, which is the steel cobra from Argentina.
That makes sense.
It or it could be a battle android trooper themed eel. Because the black and yellow color scheme there too.
Yeah, I think your first right based on those colors. But
yeah, I think
I talked to somebody that has he bought all of them, and there are 15 different variations on this current line.
The only ones I got were the ones that were available for pre-order a couple days before Jason Lucky. He's the guy that he's one of he's the guy I bought them from. He's one of the sellers on Facebook. They get a certain supply and then they dole them out. And so the store set had the Red Shadow, the Cobra de Aso, and the Snow Serpent version.
Yes.
And so I got the set, and then you could order extras of them. So I got an extra Snow Serpent eel and for myself, and no, I bought 3 extras, 2 for myself so I can have a trio, and 1 for Brian. And that one makes perfect sense to me because even on the file card, the Snow Serpents were first trained as Cobra Eels.
Yes.
And then they go on to the rigorous training course for the Snow Serpents.
Yeah.
And so having a Cobra Eel in the white and the gray, and on this figure, it's real light blue, but inspired by the Snow Serpent makes perfect sense. And that's why I wanted the trio of them. In fact, I think I actually like that color scheme on the eel mold better than the original because of how it fits into the line, the text on the file card. The original is fine. It was one of the few figures. I didn't have an eel when I was a kid. A bunch of people I knew did, but I did not have the original eel myself. And I had actually forgotten just how well done the sculpt was until I got these. And it really is. The detail that they put into it, it's really cool. There's a lot of detail I actually forgot about. But yeah, Black Major did these, and I don't know what I assumed there would be other color schemes, but I haven't seen them, and I don't know what they are.
Yeah, I was going to mention some of the ones that I have seen that I really liked. I bought one off of eBay, and it showed up at the house today. Unfortunately, Emily's at the office, her office, because she sees clients from home virtually, and then she has to go in the office to see them physically. So she's at the office right now, so she can't send me a picture. But I got one of the all white ones, which looks really cool. I think they're calling it an Arctic scheme. There's another one that's pretty cool. It's all black. There's one that is in the color scheme of Copperhead that looks really cool.
Oh, I want to see that one now.
Yeah, I'll have to see if I can find that and stick it in here. But it is really, really a neat figure. And one of the other ones that I really liked was they did the eel in torpedoes colors with the black and gray, and it looks really awesome. It looks to me, it's what torpedo should have been because the eel was a fantastic figure. So to me, if I got one of those, I think that would be my new torpedo figure.
Torpedo's one of the characters that never got a newly sculpted update in the vintage line, and I wish he had.
Yeah.
You know, so many of the Joes, especially in the Battle Core era, you know, got new versions. They got updates, but Torpedo never did. Torpedo never got an update until the new sculpt line, and then it was a land-based fatigues figure.
Yeah.
They didn't really go back and late 2002, early 2003, I believe. And I mean, it was cool. It was cool to have.
I like
It
that.
was it was it was the first time that Hasbro had done a seal in a BDU style uniform.
Yeah.
Not the first time they had done a seal that wasn't wearing a diving suit.
Right.
That honor goes to Tracker in 1991,
yes,
where
does.
he was basically in his PT outfit.
More like EJs.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, the colors were a little louder than a military PT uniform would be, but this was the first, land type uniform, with the green. They didn't go back and do another diving suit version, I think, until the 25th line. The only other torpedoes we've had were really updates or repaints of those.
Yeah.
But okay, so I haven't seen that eel either. In fact, I don't think I've seen any of the other variations on it. I'm guessing the standard Python Patrol is in there, and
so there's an all blue one. The all black one's pretty cool. The all white one's cool. I had to get one of those. The like I said, the copperhead one's really cool. The
yeah, that's the one I want to see. I mean, he's got a cool color scheme that I like a lot more now than I did when I was a kid. Not that I didn't like it when I was a kid, but like I appreciate it more now. So I'd actually curious about seeing an eel in that color. That's not something I would have considered before, really, but I like the idea.
It's amazing how well it looks on that figure. It's really cool. And then the torpedo and color scheme on there, and those are the ones that I can remember just off the top of my head. And I got my Arctic one off of eBay. So I'm not really sure what's the best way to get Black Major stuff is to go through like Jason or
well,
because I keep seeing stuff that it's on Instagram too.
Well, I don't know. I'm not actually sure if Jason has all of them for sale. Like I said, I assumed they were going to be different color schemes. I didn't realize they were already out. I haven't really seen them, but yes, Jason Lucky on Facebook. And he'll answer back quick. Like if you message him and say, "Oh, do you have these eels?" and I want these particular ones, he'll message back right away. And he's good about it. So if you want him, it's a good way to go. I just can't testify if he has all the variations on it or not, but I'm really happy with the ones that I got. The quality's good. The accessories are good. I mean, the cool thing about these is it's got the whole original accessory kit that came with the eel, but they're in the different color schemes to match the rest of the body. So, like the set with the Ace version is yellow, The Red Shadows version, all the accessories are red. And for the Snow Serpent version, they're all white. And it is cool to see those particular colors or accessories. It's just cool to see it's not just the figures that get variations, but their original accessories get the same type of attention.
Yeah, and it's a shame that you don't have a couple more Black Major figures to review for this particular podcast, because you should, if I'd addressed the box to you properly, because JD
If only.
split a couple of Black Major sets that I found on eBay, because one was Snake Eyes and I can't remember what the other one was. The other
Alley Viper.
Alley Viper, yeah. Snake Eyes and Alley Viper. Each one of the Snake Eyes came with a Night Viper. The Alley Viper came with a Night Viper. And they were in two of the color schemes that I didn't have of the Black Major stuff. I think I have all but one or two of the Black Major Night Vipers. And I really love them to death. I think they're fantastic. But so JD and I split those two sets, and I mailed them to JD, and I wrote the wrong address on the box. So it got sent back to my house, and Emily got it yesterday, and so it should be in the mail hopefully the first of the week.
This is not the first time that we've had this problem.
Nope.
But at least this time, the problem was that he just sent it to an old address of mine. The last time this happened, he just sent it to a non-existing address that could not be found on the map anywhere. But in that case, it took like weeks to get back to him. We thought it was just outright lost because, we didn't have a tracking number or anything for it. So we just thought it was, and then it showed up back at his house.
Again,
but in this case, it took about a week to get back to him, and then he sent it out. But yeah, at least this time it's just an old address. So I did have to laugh though when he gave me the tracking number and I tracked it, and it said, "Oh, return to the sender due to invalid address." I'm like, I texted him, "Hey, dude, guess what? I just tracked it. It's coming back to you." And I remember his wife responding with again, or
I had 4 different contact listings for you in my phone, and one of them had the correct address, one of them did not have an address at all, and 2 of them had the old address.
It's not that I've never told him before to take the old ones out. It's just that he never actually did that.
Which I did this time. So I as soon as I figured that out, I'm like, because I pulled it, I'm like, I know I pulled it right off of my fucking phone, and I didn't text him. I'm like, is this your? I didn't. He would have given me shit for checking the address. I'm like, fuck it, I'll just send it. And sure enough, it wasn't the right address, so I got shit either way. So
yeah. On the other hand, I do always make sure before I send him something that I verify that it's the same address, because over the course of our friendship, we both moved a few different times.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I just have to make sure that at no point did you and Emily relocate while you're home, or had to relocate while you were home. I think that one time, or you relocated and she had to move shit herself. I think happened way years ago.
Yeah, when we moved into our current house, we closed on the house while I was in Africa. So I deployed to Africa from one house and then came home to a whole new different house.
Oh yeah. See, that was it. I knew that had happened at one time. So I always contact him just to make sure that he didn't at some point send me a new address and I didn't at some point not make a record of it.
I can pretty much guarantee you
Uh,
we're never moving ever again if we can help it.
yeah, but you know, it happens sometimes. But um, but yeah, well, and it's been so long, really, since he told me what he was sending. I don't remember, so I'm gonna get a lot of surprises when I open the box because there's gonna be shit that I forgot he ever mentioned.
Yeah,
Um,
'cause it's not just the Black Major stuff that I put in there. I put in a bunch of other stuff. So
yeah, I know there's some Joes and probably some parts and stuff, but yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting that box. Actually, I was really looking forward to getting that box last week, but then I didn't get that box last week. It was, I mean, luckily I had some stuff from eBay that was able to fill that void just a little bit, but it's just not the same. People are just disappointment sometimes. I'm sorry, folks, but
yeah,
that's just. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Was that out loud?
yeah,
Wait,
that was not
how's
your
it going?
inside voice. That was totally
Um,
your inside voice. So there you
what?
have it, folks. Check out the Black Major Eels. I know there's a lot of well, I don't know about a lot. I think it's sort of divisive on the people that collect them because they have made figures and of reproductions of the original some of the original Joes, and the unscrupulous do try and pass them off as vintage, but there are definitely ways to tell whether or not it is
There's
a vintage.
there's de- there's very clear ways to tell the difference. Like if
The
like
the the rivet in the elbow is a big one.
the original blue Cobra troopers, he's done recreations of those, and you can tell the plastic is different.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes it's a color match, but not quite. It's a little off. So I mean, for a buyer who knows what to look for, it's pretty clear. But a lot of times they're wacky color variations that can't possibly be passed off as the originals because the Cobra Eel in the original toy line never got a repaint.
No.
I wish it had. Um, Python Eel would have been awesome in 1989 to go with the Python Patrol, but it never happened. None of those parts were ever reused on any other figures. I don't even think the Eel version 1, I don't even think it has any major variations across the world. There were other companies, there were companies in other countries that did make eels, but I want to say I think they were all pretty standard. So this is the first time we've gotten eels that are in, completely different color schemes. They can't possibly be passed off as reproductions,
Right.
but the problem is there's some collectors that want purely vintage stuff. They can't appreciate the artistic license that some of these. Here's what these figures are. They are factory made, but they are fan designed customs.
Yeah.
These particular fans decide what they want them to look like. They get the tooling reproduced, and then a factory over in China actually makes them. So they're full production level customs. They can't be passed off as Hasbro products. They can't be passed off even to naive buyers because in a lot of cases there wasn't anything like this.
Just the ones that are reproductions of the original figure,
Right.
but
And
because there are the collectors that have no clue what they're looking for when they're looking at some of these. So I do not condone those particular ones, but I think it's fantastic to see a lot of these figures in different color schemes. Like I said, I have all but one of the different color schemes of the Night Viper, and I bought multiples of a couple of those. I think I bought like three of the all black ones because that's what a Night Viper should have looked like to begin with, and it's a
well,
fantastic color scheme. And
Well,
the Ghost Night Viper, which is kind of a completely like creamy white. It looks like it's a prototype, but it also looks like it's, like adaptive armor or, adaptive camouflage too. So
that's cool.
yeah,
Um,
I bought a couple of
well,
those, and there's one that's in like the Desert Scorpion colors. Um, there's an all blue one. There's kind of a tannish gold one. The couple Python Patrol ones. It's they're really cool actually.
Black Major also did a run on Snake Eyes figures where basically he took the mold from Snake Eyes version 2 from 85 and he put it in all kinds of color schemes. The one that Brian sent to me is a Python Patrol version of it because um, sometimes they have Cobra symbols on them because around the world, the original Snake Eyes figure was sold in multiple countries, sometimes in different color schemes and as other characters.
Right.
The most well-known being Cobra de Aso, which was really Snake Eyes' head on Flash's body, so it's got the pads. Uh, but there was also the Cobra Mortal, which was Snake Eyes version 1, and it was either in a white and black color scheme, or the later, more well-known one was chrome silver with red parts. And so really, he takes the Snake Eyes version 2 molds and he repaints it so it's red and silver and black and white to be like a Mortal version 2. But then he also did, there's a purple version that looks like the Sunbow Snake Eyes version 2. That I have that one because I loved it. It looked like it was straight out of the cartoon. Because the very first time in that costume with the visor across his face, Snake Eyes showed up in one of the miniseries. It was in real dark blue and gray. The following miniseries, it was the same costume, but it was in purple and gray, and I love that look. And this Black Major Snake Eyes does that. But he's also got like the Slaughter's Marauder Snake Eyes, the Tiger Force Snake Eyes. In Black, yeah, let's see. Black Major did a run of Starduster. He was the Malaway figure that came with the jump pack in a bunch of different color schemes. He did Snow Serpent in a bunch of different color schemes.
Yes.
Those are extremely hard to get on the secondary market. I missed all of those, and there's a couple I wanted, and I've gone back and I've looked, and I'm like, well, I guess my collection is just complete not having those.
Yeah, because
my collection.
I saw a couple that I wanted and passed. I'm like, not right now. So I passed on them, and then I went back and I'm like, nope.
Yeah. The one that I really wanted he was from head to toe, he's in white or really light gray, including the faceplate, which on the original was all black. He had real light gray for the rest of the uniform, but the face mask on the helmet was black. Well, he did an all white and light gray version that's got the faceplate. It's white, just like the rest of the helmet, because it's inspired by the look they had on the Sunbow cartoon, where they were all light gray with white highlights, and he did that. And I wanted one of those, but not for those prices.
Yeah, and there was one that was a medic that I wanted.
Yes. Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, you need the medic variations on them. Well, and then there's another guy who does these called Red Laser, where he concentrates more on making different characters out of different vintage parts. So a lot of the parts from 82, 83, 84 have been reproduced, and he remixes them, makes different characters. I mean, he's done his Bat variations, and he's done some Trooper variations too. But we get a lot of different characters out of those. And I have a deep appreciation for what those guys are doing, and it kind of makes me wish that there were more people out there doing these different new versions on vintage figures, just because I'd like to see the vision some other people have for some of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, for everybody that says that they wanted to see my customs and productions, and it's like, okay, here's somebody that's doing just that. Their customs are, yeah, they're O-ring figures, but they're fantastic, and they're production level quality figures because they are production figures.
They're made in the factory. The the guys that design them, Black Major, Red Laser, they get the proof from the factory, they get approved, and the factory goes ahead and produces them. And so, I mean, I'm a big supporter of what they're doing. I don't like that there's shady people in the hobby, but there's shady people in every hobby. But I really appreciate the artistic vision of what they do, because honestly, a lot of these trooper variations could have gotten more repaint in the vintage line, but they didn't. And some of them were unable to get updates in the newer lines that use the old molds because they weren't available. Snake Eyes version 2, that mold was lost a long time ago.
Hmm.
But
It makes me wonder how they, how do you go about losing a mold?
well, okay, part of the problem was sometimes when they were sent overseas, the molds were damaged,
Uh,
either in transit or after they were used. They're not cleaned properly because these molds, they're these giant steel injection molds.
right.
So, I mean, they have to be cleaned a certain way. And sometimes, like the ones that went to India, sometimes they were improperly cleaned. Sometimes the molds were damaged outright. Um, Payload, the original payload sculpt on the back of the first Star Brigade packages, payload is there, repainted in black and green, um, along with the rest of the Star Brigade line. You can tell in the photos on the back of the cards they're all hand painted. You can tell. The original colors are actually showing through under the paint on some of them, but they were mock-ups in time to do the package photos. But in between the package photos and production, Hasbro realized that Payload's mold was gone, or it was damaged. It was damaged beyond use. I've heard different stories of it. I don't know what's apocryphal and what's actually true,
Right.
but Payload's mold was unusable. So the Star Brigade version of Payload was a barbecue Eco Warriors repaint because they had to grab whatever they could that was close at hand that had a face shield that they could substitute.
Gotcha.
So, um, and a lot of times later on, a mold was deemed to be, because one of the Street Fighter lines from the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie had a Snake Eyes figure. It was Guile's head, Van Damme's head on the Snake Eyes body, but it was Snake Eyes version 3, the one that originally came in the light blue and the black with the paintball mask on.
I thought that was,
And, huh?
isn't that 4?
No, you're right. That's version 4. Yeah, that's right. Version 3 was all black and silver and a really tiny head.
Yes.
Yeah, that was, the Guile figure that came out was an all black and gray repaint of Snake Eyes version 4 in the prototype Snake Eyes version 2, but by that point, the mold was already lost. I think it got lost in Brazil because I want to say either it was Brazil or Argentina. I think one of them used the Snake Eyes version 2 tooling and it never popped up anywhere again. In the 1997 Toys R Us line, there was supposed to be a Snake Eyes version 2. He's on the package. He was supposed to be in a 3-pack with Storm Shadow and Lady J. And again, the mold was long gone. So yeah, they couldn't use that. But I mean, Black Major, he took this mold with the gear and everything, made it in a bunch of different color schemes, and people went nuts, including me.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm a huge supporter of what those guys do. Like I said, they have their detractors, but I'm happy to support them. I've got a bunch of their stuff.
Yeah. I have like I said, I've got probably 10 or 15 of the of the night vipers, and I missed out on all the alley vipers, which is another one of the figures that has a bunch of different versions. But then again, I don't really remember seeing any of the alley vipers that really just like, holy shit, I gotta have that.
Yeah, I bought one of them, and I don't remember which one it was, but um, I think it was blue and red. It was okay. It was like Cobra Blue. It was okay. It was fine, but um, I didn't really feel the need to buy the rest of them. Um, but um, yeah, I kind of wish. I don't know that the demand for the cost to these guys to recreate these molds would be there, but I kind of wish that we could see some of these other troopers, more obscure troopers in wacky color schemes. But
Well, one of the colors
I get it.
that I've seen them use is Firefly's color scheme, and I would have loved to have seen an alley viper in Firefly's color scheme.
Huh. Wow. Surprisingly, that's never been done. Um, they got close in 2001. There were two packs, and the Battle Core Alley Viper was repainted mostly. The legs were Dukes, but the rest of the mold was Battle Core Alley Viper. And he was repainted in gray and black and white camouflage with like uh, red spots. And then there was a version that had light blue with the same camouflage. But they've never done an all gray, black, and white, like head to toe, all urban camel. They've never done that with the Alley Viper at all, which is kind of weird. But
It is really kind of weird to
um,
have one of the coolest urban troopers and not have it in urban camouflage.
yeah, there was an all black version with brown highlights in one of the six packs from Toys R Us, but even that wasn't. That was more like uh, a stealth suit than an urban suit. So yeah, there really hasn't been one, and that's kind of weird.
It is. Uh, or I'm gonna. I can't put that any better. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned. We do have more stuff planned with me in quarantine because I got fuck else to do for 2 weeks. I've got 1 day down and 13 to go. And
And I have no life. My day is the same every day, no matter what, without exception, because I have no life.
all right. So
I'm not.
thanks for watching. Please like, share, and comment below. And subscribe to the channel. All those fun social media things. And thank you for watching.